The silence in the Mercedes was a third passenger, thick and cold. Arthur focused on the rhythmic thump of the tires over the seams in the asphalt, a sound that usually soothed him. Today it felt like a countdown. His mother, Celeste, had not spoken since they'd left the city, her hands at a perfect 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, her profile as sharp and unyielding as a cameo. They were not headed for a hike, though she'd said they were. Arthur, at 24 and 380 pounds, did not hike. They were not headed for a pleasant lunch, as the single bottle of mineral water rolling at his feet suggested. They were headed into the stark, beautiful emptiness of the high desert, and with every mile the knot in Arthur's stomach tightened. Celeste Thornfield believed in aesthetics the way evangelists believe in God. Beauty was not a pleasure, it was a moral imperative. Her life was a curated exhibit of sleek lines, minimalist decor, and flawless surfaces. Arthur, her only son, had been her greatest curation project. A prodigy pianist with slender fingers, a champion debater with a sharp jawline, a son who reflected her own perfection. But after college, a deep, quiet despair had settled over him. The music died first, then the debate. The weight arrived not as an enemy, but as a comfort, a fortress of softness against a world that felt as demanding as his mother. He had tried, diets that made him lightheaded, trainers who spoke in grimaces of pity. But the weight was a symptom, not the disease. The disease was a profound loneliness that only food seemed to temporarily cure. Celeste finally spoke, her voice cutting the silence like a scalpel.
We're here.
She pulled onto a gravel overlook that dropped away into a vast, breathtaking canyon. The air was thin and smelled of dust and juniper. There was nothing for miles but red rock and immense, indifferent sky. She turned off the engine. The silence was absolute.
Get out, Arthur.
Mother, what are we doing?
Out.
He obeyed, heaving himself out of the low-slung car, his breath already coming short in the altitude. The gravel crunched under his shoes. Celeste walked to the edge of the overlook, a silhouette against the infinite blue. She was holding a small, elegant leather folder.
This view is a lesson in brutal honesty. There is no excess here, no indulgence. Everything has a purpose, a form, a severe and perfect function. It is the antithesis of what you have chosen to become.
Arthur's heart began to hammer.
Chosen? You think this is a choice?
Everything is a choice.
Her eyes, the color of winter ice, were devoid of their usual calculated warmth. They were flat, final.
You choose the pastry over the apple. You choose the sofa over the gym. You choose to be a monument to your own lack of discipline. You have chosen to be nothing.
The words hung in the air, more barren than the landscape around them.
I've been unhappy.
Unhappiness is an indulgence for the mediocre.
She opened the leather folder. Inside was not a document, but a single, pristine key. She held it out to him. It was the key to his apartment. The apartment she paid for.
What is this?
It's over, Arthur. I have spent a fortune on trainers, nutritionists, therapists. I have given you every tool to correct this error. You have rejected them all. You have rejected me.
A cold dread, colder than the desert wind, seized him.
What are you saying?
I am saying that the son I raised, the boy with potential, is dead. What stands before me is a stranger. A lazy, grotesque stranger who shares my DNA. I will not fund my own humiliation any longer.
She tossed the key into the dust at his feet.
You're kicking me out? Here?
I am setting you free to be the man you clearly wish to be. Unencumbered by my expectations, my resources, my love.
This is love? You're abandoning me in the middle of nowhere.
Love has failed. Aesthetics have failed. Now we try physics. The physics of necessity. A body that size will require water, shelter, it will have to move, or it will not survive. The choice, as always, is yours.
She turned and walked back to the car. Arthur stood frozen, his mind refusing to process the scene. This was a joke, a cruel, extreme test. She would stop, she would turn around. She opened the driver's door.
Mother, you can't! I'm your son!
She paused, one hand on the roof of the car. For a single, heart-stopping second, he thought he saw a crack in her porcelain facade, a flicker of something human. It was there and gone so fast he couldn't be sure.
No, you were.
She got in. The engine purred to life. The Mercedes executed a perfect three-point turn, kicking up a small cloud of dust that settled on Arthur's pants. And then she drove away. He watched the silver car become a speck, then vanish into the shimmering heat of the horizon. The silence descended again, but now it was different. It was no longer empty. It was alive, and it was hungry. He was alone, truly alone. No wallet, no phone, just the clothes on his back and a 380-pound body that was already beginning to feel the thirst. The abandonment was not just emotional, it was geographical, physiological, absolute. It was an extreme measure designed to either kill him or forge him into something she could respect. He didn't know which outcome she preferred. He looked at the key lying in the dust, a symbol of a life that was now closed to him. He didn't pick it up. He turned instead and faced the canyon, the brutal honesty of the rock and the sky. The first emotion that rose up through the paralyzing fear was not sadness, but a strange, terrifying clarity. His mother had thrown him away. Now he had to decide if he would simply be discarded, or if he would become something entirely new, something she could never have even imagined, forged in the unforgiving heat of her abandonment. The choice, as she had said, was his.